This is Zone 1 Radio.
Zone 1 Radio.
Hello, I'm Steve Phillips and welcome to the first proper full-length episode of Audiobook Club, the world's only interactive audiobook review podcast. This week, we're going to be up to our elbows in This Is Going to Hurt, Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor by Adam Kay.
A note on confidentiality. To respect the privacy of those friends and colleagues who might not wish to be recognised, I have altered various personal details. To maintain patient confidentiality, I have changed clinical information that might identify any individuals, altered dates and anonymised names. Although f*** knows why, they can't threaten to strike me off anymore.
So this is your gig. You are involved in the Audiobook Club in the form of a hashtag. Guess what it is? It's hashtag Audiobook Club. You can tweet, Facebook or Insta us, in inverted commas, with what you're reading and what you think of it. So I'm still saying we from our last episode if you were one of the 20 people who heard it. And that means we are our two resident critics. So it's a wordy welcome to Cheryl Monkhouse and Matthew Layton. How are you chaps?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for asking. I appreciate the politeness. And Matthew, how are you?
I'm glad you asked me that, Steve. I'm livid.
Oh, right, go on then. Oh, you started early.
As you know, you are based in the southeast of England, and Cheryl and I have convened in Cheryl's back garden studio complex in Adelaide in Australia. So we're here by the magic of science. And sausages aren't very good in Adelaide. But there was one guy at the Adelaide Central Market, and he was called the Sausage Man. And you will be as livid as I am when I tell you that he's gone and been replaced by a Cambodian street food stall. Now, for me, I don't know about you, I can see your face. That is the definition of political correctness gone mad.
You say that, Matt, but if you look at the demographics of our episode 0, I think you find we do have some listeners in Cambodia, and I will not alienate them, and that everyone's street food store is welcome in your street in Adelaide there, and indeed anywhere else in the world.
I'm taking offence to this, though, because it's a sausage man and never a sausage woman.
Well, a sausage isn't a very female kind of...
Says who?
Okay. We'll probably come on to this later. Sorry, Steve, you're in charge. Back to you. This isn't going very well. Back to you.
Well, I'm going to reel this in and return us back to Planet Earth and the book we're going to review. And dear listener, we would love to hear from you. This week we're reviewing, as I say, This Is Going to Hurt, Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor by former Doctor, now writer and comedian Adam Kay. We want to hear from you. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram by using the hashtag Audiobook Club. And there's lots of room for more insightful critique on our Facebook page. So at this point, I would normally ask the person who suggested the book to give us a brief overview of the book and explain as to why Cheryl or Matthew had brought the book to the table and ask us to spend 10 hours of our lives listening to it. But in the case of this month's book, This Is Going to Hurt, thanks to an extra feature interview at the end of the book, which is why audiobooks are better than normal books, we can actually get the author, Adam Kay, to do this for us.
So basically, my book's called This Is Going to Hurt, Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor, and it's that. I worked as a doctor for 6 years, and eventually stopped being a doctor. But during that time, I kept a record of what I was up to. You're meant to keep a record in order that you can pass to the next stage of medicine. You have to, submit evidence of what you've done, and so you keep a log. But the frustrated writer in me at the time was just jotting down weird shit that happened.
So you heaped a lot of praise on Adam Kay in a tweet, Matt, a few weeks ago. And Adam Kay got back to you after you lavished that praise and said, thanks so much. I'm really glad people have listened to the audiobook because it was a right faff, in capital letters, for a non-pro like me to record it. And he quotes what they used to say to him in the studio, which is, and can we get that line again, please, Adam? And again, and again. Close speech marks. So so he really obviously appreciates people taking the time to listen to the audiobook version. So Matt, your thoughts on This Is Going to Hurt?
Well, I really loved this book. I don't think that's giving anything away. I don't think that's a spoiler. So Adam, at this point, is 6 years on from resigning, handing in his papers as a doctor. And I think he was inspired to go up to the box full of papers in his spare bedroom when the UK Health Minister, Jeremy Hunt, launched a savage attack, as he puts it, on junior doctors. As you would expect from this kind of book, if you've got any mates who work in the medical field, you'll find that they have many stories of objects in orifices. And, this one doesn't let us down.
Tuesday, 7th of June 2005. Assisting in theatres on the emergency list, removing a foreign object from a patient's rectum. Less than a year as a doctor, and this is the 4th object I have removed from a rectum, professionally at least. My first encounter was a handsome young Italian man who attended hospital with the majority of a toilet brush inside him, bristles first, and went home with a colostomy bag. His big Italian mother was grateful in ways that Brits never are, lavishing thanks and praise on every single member of staff she met for saving her son's life. She put her arm around the equally handsome young man who attended hospital with her son. And thank God his friend Phillips was staying in the spare room at the time to call the ambulance.
And also stories of how arduous and just life-destroying being a junior doctor is. And you get all that for the first 9 chapters. And then on my way over here, I had to re-listen to the end of chapter 9 and chapter 10, because that's where the book gets serious. Again, we've discussed spoilers. I don't think that we're giving away too much by saying something goes horribly wrong. And Adam feels he has to step away from the profession, and he makes a lot of quite serious political points. It turns from memoir into a political diatribe almost, I'd say, wouldn't you, Cheryl?
It does. It takes a quick turn. I've spent a lot of time in various and sundry experiences with the health industry. My father ran hospitals for a while. I worked in an emergency room, sadly termed a patient pleaser. I was the person who went between the patients in the actual emergency room out to their families and would help to communicate what was happening next, or letting the patients know that their families were there, so on and so forth. So I know the gallows humor, and I understand. I also worked for a large insurance company, so I understand the sort of push and pull between it being a business and it being humanity. And this book to me was beyond on the nose. And what's fascinating even more so for me is coming from the United States and seeing how this takes place in the UK. And it may as well have been in the US.
That's interesting. Do you think that him sort of, because it's such a serious subject, and the kind of stories he's telling are extremely graphic, they're compelling, they're very candid, and they actually happened. Do you think the use of, when he talks about the number of things he had to retrieve from orifices and various orifices, helped to kind of get you through the book with that kind of humour?
That to me probably, I will have to say, had me rolling on the floor a few times, only because I have been sitting in a break area when a physician has come in to explain what they just had to pull out of somebody. So it's not too far off, and I have to say that the way that he describes the comprehensive experience, from not only the physical but to the odors and the bodily reactions, it's fantastic. He does an amazing job.
I think there's a bit that always gets me, and I had to brace myself.
The olfactory.
Every time he put the word in footnote in to describe exactly what the technical term he'd used 5 seconds before was, I knew the word ectopic, but I didn't know in quite that amount of detail what it was, and now I know how to use a Von Twos, although I wouldn't necessarily leave me in the wild with one.
No.
He's also really good at swearing, Steve.
Yes.
He's really good at swearing, Steve. I'm going to play this.
He's certainly, yeah.
I'm going to play this clip with some swearing in it, and then we're going to talk about it.
As you wish.
Friday, 6th of February, 2009. Patient HJ needs an emergency caesarean section for failure to progress in labour. This has not come as a surprise. When I met her on admission, she presented me with her 9-page birth plan in full colour and laminated, the whale song that would be playing on her laptop, the aromatherapy oils that would be used, an introduction to the hypnotherapy techniques she'd be employing, a request for the midwife to say surges rather than contractions. The whole thing was doomed from the start. Having a birth plan always strikes me as akin to having a what I want the weather to be plan, or a winning the lottery plan. 2 centuries of obstetricians have found no way of predicting the course of a labour, but a certain denomination of floaty-dressed mother seems to think she can manage it easily. Needless to say, HJ's birth plan has gone right up the fuck.
Now, before we came to air, before we came to record this, you and I had a little concerned phone call. Steve, I haven't told you about this. We had a concerned phone call from Steve saying, it sounds like you might have just chosen that clip because it's got swearing in it. And we've had one sweary bit already. Now, you see, the problem is with Steve, right? He's like proper.
A massive prude.
No, he's professional. He's like a proper BBC style. He actually is doing this in a dinner jacket at the moment to make his voice sound better. And he just cannot...
National anthem coming up shortly.
He cannot swear in front of a microphone, can you, Steve?
No, it's hardwired in. It's absolutely hardwired in. You cannot do it. It's physically impossible. I think I retch or something when it happens, or I come out in hives. It's not pleasant. You really don't want to be anywhere near me.
No, well, and all respect to you for that. But we have to decide what we're going to do about swearing in this podcast in general. Cheryl, what do you think?
I'm over here practically shitting confetti.
He does swear really well, doesn't he? That is an Adam Kay quote.
That is one of my favorite descriptors. His descriptors are phenomenal throughout.
Our video link shows us that Steve's eyeballs have rolled into the back of his head. So, can we moving on, Steve? Now we've discussed the swearing. Come on, you have to admit...
We've got it out the system, yeah.
You have to... No, I think we've got it out in the open. You have to admit that he is good at swearing.
He's very good at swearing. He employs it very well, actually, I think. And in the narration, this brings on to a good point about the importance of having him narrate the book himself, and his tone and the language he uses and the style and the pace and so on. What did you think... Cheryl, of how he read the book?
I honestly think you couldn't have had anyone else read that book. To have gone through what he went through, to have walked in his shoes and then told those stories so well and with such flourish and honesty, and with such, as he puts it, gallows humor, which you'd have to have. And he really just embraces everything that he's saying, like from, and I will say it again, his one statement that he makes, which is probably now, I'm going to put on a t-shirt, I think, practically shooting confetti. I just find the way that he flourishes his experiences and the tonality of his voice and his excitement and how somber he gets. You really grasp what he went through to get to the decision he made in chapter 10.
Do you think the way that he read the book actually is explained by what happens at the end of the book? So he's very kind of matter of fact. There is a little twinkle in there as well, but he's very kind of matter of fact about everything he says. Like it's going. He describes the most graphic, unusual life, but he's described it like he's going to the shops. Do you think that that was kind of, I don't know, influenced by what happened to him at the end?
I would say that you probably couldn't be a physician and experience all of the just disgusting things we as humans put out and do. And I mean, just and the things that he's had to go in and retrieve. And I mean, I think he was basically reading his diary entries, and that's kind of what it's like, it's sort of like we had a commercial in the States that this guy got up every day and it's time to make the donuts. And I think that's kind of for him, he just goes in every day and it might be a different flavored donut, but it's still a donut to him.
Make the donuts. I love that.
It's time to make the donuts. But then you notice that as he gets into the chapters that go beyond, his letters too, as he's reciting those, his tone and his passion fully change, where it becomes, he's much more alive, I think, in those chapters, as opposed to just sort of reciting his experiences as he was prior.
I think you're spot on. I think it goes a bit further than that. Steve, you and I have had discussions before, and Cheryl, you know my opinions. I don't always light up when I hear that the author's reading the book, because I have... telling the author that they're probably good enough to read the audiobook, but the publisher tickling their egos is not always the right move. And I'm not sure that any junior doctor could have delivered it in this way. No. We have to remember that in the 6 years since he has been a doctor, he has been writing and delivering comedy.
So his timing is there, his vocals are there,
it does sound like it's coming out of his mouth. I've been disappointed when people haven't read their book, but also I've had a miserable time when the wrong narrator, i.e. the author, has been there as well. But in this case, I think it's more fundamental than that. I think the whole strength of the audiobook beyond the written book is that we get to like him along the way.
Yes.
Basically, you're almost going on a date with him for the first 9.5 chapters.
Right.
And 2 days before the really bad thing that happens, the story just before the really bad thing is about a man who was asked to go and give a sample of urine and turned up with a sample of sperm, and perhaps, maybe the fact that he had got confused and was peeing into his wife was the reason they hadn't had a baby. And then bang, you get hit with the really hard stuff. And not only does he need to convey that roller coaster, he needs to make us like him, then he needs to tell us why he's written the book.
Right.
And I don't think anybody else could have read this book. I think it's fundamental to the book itself.
Exactly.
Do you think that this applies just to the whole kind of author reading the book and its authenticity and so on? Do you think this is something that kind of applies to autobiographies or factual accounts witnessed by someone when it's actually read by the person who has actually experienced that or has written about it? Because when we spoke in the last episode, Matthew, you talked about a kid's book that your kids were listening to, and the author was absolutely terrible at it. But maybe actually it's much better when the author of an autobiography or a factual account actually reads it rather than handing over to someone else.
Well, look, every case is going to be different. That's the first time you and I have tried to jump for the microphone for the first time. That's going to happen a lot. And the answer is, there's a reason that some very intelligent, sciencey people get locked away in laboratories. And if they're going to read their books to me, you're going to realise why that person has been locked in a laboratory for the last 20 years. This is going to be different on a case-by-case basis. Yes. It is down to the individual performance and the context. And I think there's almost a thing of if somebody has bothered to make the audiobook, then the content's going to be quite good. But a bad narrator can ruin that.
Right. And my book that I would say I absolutely love this book. It's by Penny Marshall, and it's called My Mother Was Nuts. And it's basically her autobiography, and she narrates it. But unfortunately, she has that really raspy voice.
Now, Steve is a 1970s, 1980s television geek in some ways.
Okay.
So can you tell us who Penny Marshall is?
Who, me? Oh, right.
Hello?
Question. The name rings a bell. No, I'm still trying to get. No. I'm still trying to get over your remark against scientists, and that's very scientist, if that's a word. In fact, it is a word.
I'm scientist.
All I can think of is Schlemiel Schlemazel. Laverne and Shirley.
Yes, that's it. Laverne and Shirley. It was right on the tip of my tongue. I
Laverne
was there.
DeFazio.
All those classic
Yeah,
sitcoms. Yeah.
Yep, she directed League of Their Own. I mean, amazing woman, incredible life, an incredible book. I have to say, I loved every word that I read of it, and then I thought it would be fun to try to take a listen to it, and it's Penny reading it, and
Actress? Be fine, won't it?
she's got that really gravelly, I've been smoking for all my life voice, and it makes I couldn't get through it listening to her read it.
Yeah.
So I think it all just depends on the tonality and the quality and the passion. I have very strong opinions on...
Do you ever find yourself shouting? There was a thriller book I was reading recently, which was narrated by Hugh Bonneville, and it was literally the best narration of an audiobook. I went, that is an actor, right? That is an actor, and he's delivering this book. And then, in about chapter 17, he gives a list of cars and refers to a Camaro. And then the whole one single mispronunciation in the whole book had me throwing my phone against the wall. It was I do find that type of thing, bad delivery, bad production actually. The people behind the glass who are telling you to do it again, you should have blooming well told him to do it again. If there's any doubt, I mean, you and I, Steve, in our BBC days, we used to have the number for the pronunciation unit. Do you remember? And you used to be able to phone someone up, and it would only cost 50 quid, and they would tell you how to pronounce the name of a Welsh village or a Russian composer.
Oh, don't get me started on the Welsh villages, Matt. Honestly, every single time I did a traffic bulletin way back when we were little boys, and I would mess up every place name, and it was always a Welsh presenter on the radio presenting it who made me stay back like I was in school after class and go through the pronunciations with me.
That was after
days.
the public humiliation in front of 100,000 people. Oh, you're meant to be reining us in. We've gone off on one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, I completely remember Laverne and Shirley. Of course, Cindy Williams played Shirley Feeney, and from the sixth season onwards. The setting changed from Series 6 to mid-60s Burbank, when, of course, we all know that Michael McKean and David Lander also co-starred as their friends and neighbours, Lenny Koznowski and Andrew Squiggy Squigman. So, yeah, great days from Laverne. I don't think we'll ever see the like of that sort of sitcom ever again. Well, I think it's probably quite enough from us, I think, after that insightful conversation. What did you think about this? You can get in touch with us at any time using the hashtag Audiobook Club. In lieu of that, we've got some comments we'd like to read out that we looked through on the Audible website, publicly available, so I believe we can use it. Kim Driver said that she loved this, gives a wonderful insight to the job. As a nurse of 49 years, much of this spent in the community where we have a policy that district nurses have to see however many patients the hospital or GPs send to them with no ceiling on numbers, no consideration of safety or sanity. I can completely completely identify with much of what he talks about. It's so sad these days to see how the NHS is being devalued and destroyed by poor management system and a wish to privatise and make money from people's ill health. When it's gone, it's gone. There will always be some bad apples, but the vast majority of doctors or nurses go above and beyond. Stu Young said it was funny, engaging and eye-opening. This performance expertly delivers the humour and the sarcasm of the writer, who's gone to great lengths to make you feel that you are indeed there reading his diary as he talks about the horrors of the modern NHS. As an allied health professional, I understood all of the things this brave and bold former doctor has written and hope that the wider public read/listen to his honest and open account of frontline working in the NHS. It has to be said that we should never have lost someone with such skill, compassion and understanding from the health service. And one tweet that came in the last few days on Twitter from Melanie at It's Not Melanie. So I'm just going to quote you here. Thanks for your mention, Melanie. We'll mention you on Twitter. There's 2 people on this bus reading This Is Going to Hurt, and I'm listening to the audiobook. We're all hospital staff. Crying, laughing emoji. There we go. So earlier on this week, I spoke to a real Audio Book Club member and runner, Lauren Raby, about what she thought and her members of her Audio Book Club thought of This Is Going to Hurt. Well, joining me now to talk about how much This Is Going to hurt, or indeed gave pleasure, it's our first real Audio Book Club member, because she runs an Audio Book Club. This is Lauren Raby. Hello, Lauren.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about your Audio Book Club, when you meet and who's in it.
So we are 3 friends that went to university together. 2 of us are now in London. 1 is in Manchester. So I thought it would just be a good way for us to make sure that we stay in touch and catch up regularly. And I knew that Alex was already a fan of audiobooks. So it was only a few months ago. We've actually only read a couple of books. So we're trying to have a meetup once a week, and we have a WhatsApp video call. So just using technology all we can. That's really cool. So what are you reading at the moment? We're reading now The Trauma Cleaner by Sarah Krasnostein, if I've said that correctly.
Fantastic. Well, we'll talk about, we're making up a list of what we should be reading next, actually, after we've done This Is Going to Hurt. So if that's okay, we might steal your suggestion and not obviously pass it off as our own, but thank you kindly for the recommendation. So what did you and your gang think about This Is Going to Hurt?
Well, the reviews were quite unanimous. We thought it was equally hilarious and harrowing. So it made us want to laugh. It made us want to cry. I think you're just a whole mix of emotions all the way through. And Alex said it gave him a whole new respect for anyone in the medical profession. It really does, doesn't it? Were there any passages that really stood out for you during the course of reading it? For me, I think it was the fireman Sam Sponge story. It's really stuck with me, maybe not for the right reasons. I'm not sure. Are we allowed spoilers here? I think the occasional thing. It's been out for a while, isn't it? So I think you can. I think you can sort of drop it in there. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll just say his description of the smell that came after the fireman Sam Sponge. It nearly made me throw up. There were all sorts of those similar tales, weren't there, of him having to extract certain things from certain areas and so on, which certainly made for the hilarity of part of the book as well. How did you find Adam's style of narration for the audiobook? Did it really help that he was doing it as opposed to an actor? Yeah, I actually really prefer it when the author of the book does the narration. I feel like you get a little bit closer to the story. Not to say that it's bad when it's not the author of the book. I've listened to some great ones when it's narrated by someone else as well. But I thought that Adam's style of narration is really great. It's just really easy to listen to. And I think because of some of his stories or memories are relatively short, it stays quite snappy. So I definitely recommend this book for someone who was maybe listening to their first audiobook, because it's quite easy to stay concentrated. Did you find his tone of voice when he was the way he was talking and reading from his diary, do you think that sort of had an effect on how he explained, gave the final chapter and why he left the profession? And you got a sense of why he was speaking like that in the rest of the book?
Yeah, I think that really makes that chapter sit with you. It was really hard hitting because, there's so many laughs throughout the book and the tone really changes. You almost feel it's colder. I think he did really well with that.
What did you and your members really think when he gave up his career? What was your reaction to that?
Well, no one was really surprised. Everybody agreed they probably would not be able to cope with it. I'd always thought it must be a pretty tough job, so that's why I recommended this book for our club. But I think that the work-life balance was a lot worse than any of us could have imagined. It must be extremely difficult.
Thanks so much for your thoughts on This Is Going to Hurt. Once you're done with this one, have you decided what you're reading next?
We've started reading The Trauma Cleaner, which I would definitely recommend. So it's a story of a lady who is a trans woman. She's been a sex worker. She now cleans people's homes, maybe if they're having serious problems or after there's been a death. And it's just a story of her life, and it's so many crazy ups and downs. I definitely recommend.
Okay, we will. And can I just one final question before I let you go? We, in the audiobook club, between Cheryl, Matt and myself, are deciding what to read next. What's your preferred method without causing any sort of arguments or my book's more important than your book? I mean, we're thinking about some sort of medieval jousting, but that may be A, a little bit too onerous to put together, and B, probably not the done thing. How do you decide?
We are doing a simple taking turns. So our first book was from Alex, and we all suffered. It was tough. But yeah, simple taking turns. And blame, you can shove the blame on someone if the book is terrible.
Blame really helps, actually, doesn't it? Really grease the wheels there, doesn't it? Thank you so much for your time, Lauren.
So, guys, Lauren actually brought up a very good point there and explained how they choose their next audiobook. And this is something that in the weeks leading up to this first episode, we haven't really touched on very much. So what do you want to do?
Let's have this meeting on the actual podcast and decide.
Let's have the meeting now.
Well, okay, let's review what we've done so far, right?
Yep.
What we've done is pretended we've interviewed the author, because we were not quite big or established enough to actually get the author, so we stole a clip of him being interviewed to make it sound like we were interviewing him. We then read out his tweet, and then we stalked someone on Twitter so we could get someone apart from ourselves to talk about it. So thus far, because we haven't had any listeners, we've had to fake it. And I think we'll have to continue to fake it until we get listeners.
Yes.
But I think our ultimate goal, what we're setting out to do here, Steve, is to get people to suggest books for us to read and have some sort of democratic process there.
There is a thought. So right now, the Bad Blood about Theranos, and that one, they just are putting out an HBO special on that. And she is in the process of getting sentenced currently. So there's a lot of activity on that we might be able to get somebody to talk about.
Well, so the interesting thing I thought was we've done something English and non-fiction this time.
Yep.
So we should probably do something American and fiction.
Yep.
But if we do something American and the book you're talking of, Bad Blood, is another medical thing, I don't want people to think we're...
I know, that we're medical.
Yeah.
It's just the timing's good on it.
We look like ER over here, yeah. Welcome to ER/Casualty, the podcast.
Yeah.
I know.
I think you're right. And I think it's your decision. And I in fact, both of the books you suggested...
Yeah, My Mother Was Nuts is fantastic.
Oh, no, the other ones. Stories I Only Tell My Friends.
Oh, yeah.
And Bad Blood.
Stories I Only Tell My
I've already done my homework. I've already done both.
You've already done both?
I've already done both.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm happy to go with either of those. And then we'll let Steve choose one,
Okay.
Okay, well, I suggest there are only three of us at the moment. Let's do this democratically, as you say. Well, in the meantime, while we await the flood of people telling us what we should be reading next, I suggest we are quorum. We are three of us, so we have two books to review for next month's podcast: Bad Blood and Stories I Only Tell My Friends. And I think we put it to the vote. So, Cheryl, your vote, please.
Since we just did this heavily medical one, I'm going to have to say let's go with Stories I Only Tell My Friends.
Okay, that's one for stories.
And in fact, I would be really happy to go with either. I think there's enough meat there. Considering we've had the conversation about the author being the narrator, I might have to join you. But Steve, I'm kind of on the fence. This is only an indicative vote, isn't it, Steve?
Let me pull you off that fence right now, Matt, by saying we're going to do Stories Only Tell My Friends in April's podcast. How about that?
Nicely done.
Okay, excellent. We're done. We are agreed. Don't forget, you can let us know what we should be reading next at any point in time. Just use the hashtag Audiobook Club. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search for Audiobook Club. You'll find our little logo, which is a very basic black play sign with some words inside it.
Zone 1 Radio.
Cheryl Monkhouse, Matt Layton, it's been a pleasure reviewing This Is Going to Hurt with you. I think we're going to have many successful podcasts, new podcasts for a happier world. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Don't forget, you can find us on Zone 1 Radio, on DAB Digital Radio in London or anywhere else in the world as a podcast, including Apple and Google Podcasts and Spotify. Just search for hashtag Audiobook Club. And we would love to hear from you at any point. We'll get involved. We'll talk back to you as well, but also in a nice way. Tell us what you think on Twitter and Instagram using the hashtag Audiobook Club, or you can Facebook us by searching for our name. We'll see you next month.
So you know the bit where we said we're not going to do self-indulgent in jokes and stuff. So I was having a conversation with the cook from the local pub, who's also one of the dads at the school, the other day, and we were talking about, you were there. We were talking about the recycling bins, which are quite sort of iconic things in Australia. You've got a red bin for your rubbish, a yellow bin for your. Stay with it, Steve. Stay with it. A yellow bin for your recyclables, and a green bin for your garden waste. And you put the yellow bin out one week and the green bin out the next week. And then Dean was telling us the story of how he likes to fake all the other, because no one remembers which week it is. No. So sometimes at noon on Tuesday he puts out the wrong bin just to mess with people's heads, and then the street fills up with the wrong colour bin. And we're just having a little conversation about this. And then he said, actually, Cheryl, I've got a serious question to ask you. So there's this lady who lives next door, and she basically, we haven't heard from her in a couple of days. I said, I know the answer to this question. Green bin.
During the main run of Laverne and Shirley, there was an animated spin-off called Laverne and Shirley in the Army, which began airing on Saturday mornings in October 1981. So just another fact there I just remembered that. But that was a very funny story about the bins. Green bin. Only kidding. No, it's very good. Very good. We better go. We better leave it there.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.